The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
The truth is, he lives in the world of the make-believe, in my opinion, and even the fact that he became president is the world of the make-believe. How this happened. Obama is unwilling or unable to show his birth certificate. He had lousy marks in school and he got into Harvard on a scholarship. Explain that one. By the way, I have friends that have kids that have all A's, that have the highest aptitude test. They can't get into Harvard. They can't get into Wharton either, by the way, which I'm very proud to tell you. But they can't get into Harvard. He got into Harvard. Huh? Oh, Israel. She's saying, how about Israel? How about Israel? How can... Hey, I have so many Jewish friends that are supporting Obama, and I'm saying, are you crazy? There's never been anybody worse to Israel than Obama. I mean, thank you. Stand up, take a bow. Thank you. There has never been any president worse to Israel. And yet I'll have friends, oh, Donald, before they knew I was thinking about doing this, oh, you have to come to a fundraiser on my Park Avenue apartment. We're having I say, for who? Obama. No thanks. I say, why would you have a fundraiser for Obama? You know, it's hard to believe. Anyway, he did one deal. Now listen to this one. He did one deal in his life, and that was a real estate deal for the purchase and expansion of his house at below fair market value from a mobster and campaign contributor and one of his best friends who ended up going to jail, and Obama was hardly even looked at. Okay? When I heard, his name is Tony Rezko. If anybody in the audience did what he did, you wouldn't be here today. I guarantee you'd be someplace else. How he got away with that one, how he's getting away with this whole birth certificate scam, this whole thing is incredible. All right. A couple of little things. Who? They give me some good ideas. Oh, heirs. Well, you people are worse than I am. Okay, Bill Ayers, I'll give you this real fast. Should I do it, or do you have time? You don't want to leave? Because I'm having a good... You're my people. I love you guys. Okay. She's just shouting out, what about Bill Ayers? Well, Bill Ayers was a bad guy. He was a real terrorist, a real bad guy. Well, he was Obama's best friend. By the way, Obama dropped all of his best friends. He dropped Tony Rezko. Oh, Tony Rezko, I hardly know him. Think of before I get to Bill Ayers, I have to finish with Rezko. Think of this. He buys a house. Right alongside, there's another housing site. Now, we all know about houses, right? I'm very good at real estate, and most of you are good at real estate. Okay, so now Rezko buys the house lot, just a lot next to him. Obama wants to make a larger room in his house. So Rezko sells him at below market value a little chunk of the back of the lot. Now, what does that do? That ruins the lot for Rezko. In other words, nobody's going to buy, oh, gee, let me buy that lot. And by the way, how come the back of my lot is gone? Where is it? Oh, your senator's on it, okay? So he buys this chunk. So now, if you think about it, not only was it under market, but he rendered the rest of the piece of land useless. Now, when I heard that, I said, well, that's the end of his campaign. That's the end of him. I didn't know him. I didn't care. But I just heard it. I said, that's the end of his campaign. Nothing. He's president of the United States. Can you believe this? All right, Bill Ayers, to satisfy that one, because I love the Bill Ayers thing. I just didn't want to do it because I didn't want to get wordy, as Obama would say. But, Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers is a bad guy, terrorist, lots of bad thoughts, but he is a genius, okay? He's a genius. And there's been a long controversy about Obama's first book. Who wrote it? Well, Bill Ayers came out recently and actually said, you know, he no longer likes Obama because Obama has not treated him well because he dropped him like he did Rezko and like he did the legendary Reverend Wright, okay? You know, we'll talk about Reverend Wright. So what happens is Bill Ayers, in my opinion, hey, I wrote The Art of the Deal, one of the biggest selling business books of all time. They say the biggest selling business book, and I had many, I think I have 11 or 12 books. Virtually all of them were bestsellers. Some were #1 bestsellers. So I know a lot about books. The man that wrote the second book, he made a big mistake when he wrote the second book. He probably did it for a couple of bucks. The man that wrote the second book didn't write the first book. The first book was written by Ernest Hemingway Plus. The second book was written by a high school graduate. The difference was like chicken salad and chicken shit, okay? That's what the difference was. And yet, if you think about it, without that first book, which he did not write, there is no way, because I read both books, there is no way that he wrote that first book. There's no way. Because we know he wrote the second book, because Bill Ayers wasn't involved. He wrote the second book. There is no way the man that wrote the second book wrote the first book. Now, here's the story. Here's the story. If he doesn't write the first book, and if the first book isn't brilliant, if it isn't brilliant, he's not president. Because his whole aura was caused by the genius of the first book, which was written by Bill Ayers. Terrible. So it's very, very sad. Okay. Oh, forget Soros. Leave him alone. He's got enough problems. She goes, what about Soros? Let's talk about somebody else. Okay.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.